Hello and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today I'm going to be working on the Moomin house a little bit. I'm going to be working on stage 8, which was one that was really difficult for me to get in because they kept shipping me the wrong ones or not shipping anything. Or I think one time they sent me stage 10 or book for stage 10, parts for stage 7. But I finally got the parts in, so there are the parts. Here's the magazine, and as always with these, they have a little bit of stuff about the show and what you're going to be doing. So these are the parts, and before I get started on stage 8, I want to go back and talk a little bit about stage 7. And I just saw in the book that I don't have everything I need over here. The one thing I don't have here is the stove, which we're going to be finishing up. Have everything right behind me. So when I was working on stage 7, I said I wasn't going to do this on screen. I'm going to do it as a, do it off screen. Let me actually switch to that camera. Do it off screen because I should have done it before. And what I did is I'm running at least one wire through each panel. Usually I'm going to run it through each side of the door, at least one wire. And I had to go back and very carefully drill through these panels or these wooden pieces, making sure I didn't break them at the same time. Had to do this now on this one because we're going to be putting some plywood on in the next couple of stages here. And then I went back and did the same thing on the plate. You can see here there's a hole right there and then another one right there. Not sure how I'm going to work it on this stage. On the next stage, this isn't going to go on here very well right now because I don't have it. I run the needles. I run the wires back down through. So first off, let's get out the parts, and we go ahead and switch back. New setup on the camera, so it's going to take me a little bit. We have Snork Maiden, and I think I've actually got this one too high. We have Snork Maiden, another character. I believe this is Moomin's sister. We'll set her down there. And then part for the stove. Some more wood strip, or wood pieces, I guess you'd call them. Got A, E, G, 2 B's, another end cap strip, double-sided tape for her, the rest of the stove front, which this is metal, and then some really tiny pieces here. This is C, L, F, M, and D. So let me get this out of the way and figure out how I'm going to do this, because I'm thinking I want to drill the holes before, because it was a real pain drilling the center holes on here. That center hole was a pain in the butt to actually get drilled because I couldn't put the drill in because of that part, that cross member there. Matter of fact, that looks a little bit crooked, but we'll straighten it up as we go. So give me just a second and I will sort out what I'm going to do. Okay, so sorry. Laid out the parts to where they're going to go together. Get some glue here. I'm going to put this back in here. And so the first thing to do is to take part E, or 6, and attach it here. Attach it to this part over here. The batten is what they call it. It's actually a little bit tight going in there. You'll probably get a little bit better with some glue on it. but we're starting to form the next wall. So let me put a little bit of glue on here, and it's good that if it's tight, because that way it won't come back off. And you need to make sure that this notch, the notch here, is in the front, longer tab is on the bottom. So let me push this in here. And it is almost, there we go, fully seated. Just like that. Come on. There we go. Just like that. That little bit of glue won't matter. And then part F, which also has a longer tab. You got a shorter and a longer tab. The longer tab needs to go to the top because it's got to come out through the top of that part there. So let me apply some glue to the bottom tab. And it doesn't have a front or a back. So it's going to go on here like that. That one went in a lot easier, just like that. I'm going to have to move that camera down. Let's see, 2 plywood glue, short tab on the bottom, and then we're going to take the other part E, I think it was part E, or part B, and it's going to go over here, doing the same thing. Don't need to worry about any drilling at this point because this is the doorway, and I'm not going to have any wires going through the doorway. And I apologize if I go out of camera a little bit because this is a new setup. Still figuring out how I want to set it here. I did some major rearrangement in the shop yesterday. Completely switched benches that I'm using. So instead of having the spare bench to my left or to my right, it's now to my left. And so that's how that goes on there. Turn it over. Next thing that goes on here is this part. Before I do this, I'm going to figure out where I want to drill because this is going to be a top rail, and between here, one spot here, and one spot here, I'm going to want to drill a hole for the wire. So I'll be back in a minute after I drill. Okay, actually I moved the camera down, be a little bit closer. So you can see there, like I said, spot there, spot here. All I do is take a micro drill and very carefully drill through, making sure that I do not break through the outer edge. Might help if this drill was a little bit sharper. You see it comes through pretty quick when it reaches the other side. That's a little bit closer to the edge than I wanted. You can see there. Sitting here trying to remember. There it is. Like I said, I just redid the shop or the table. It doesn't have to be a very big hole, because you can see just big enough to fit those 2 wires through it. Let me do the same thing on this one, except, let me see. Now I don't have anything handy, except maybe put my needle nose pliers here. That way you can actually see what I'm doing. That one's a little bit better. Going through, and I know this takes a little bit of time. I won't be doing the other 2 on camera. Let me move those pliers, and so you see another nice hole. Got to sand down the other side, which when I put everything away, I put everything, including my sanding stuff, away. My sanding sticks. And so it's one of these things of, I didn't get everything out. Actually, they're right there. Sometimes I'm a dork. Okay, all the time I'm a dork. So let me just double check with these wires that I've already got on something. And you can see it's not those wires that are going to go through there, but they'll fit just fine. And so let me match up the curve again. And so it's going to go on here just like that. Excuse me. So let me put some glue. I'm going to put some glue on here, put that on there, and then I will pause the recording again and take care of the others. Doesn't take very much glue, and I am using a wood glue. Using micro sponges right now. This is a brand new one, so it's still got the sponge on it. It's going to end up just being a stick after this session, because that sponge doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot for you. And had I been marking these for suitable for kids, I just lost my kid rating there. But I don't mark anything suitable for kids, because you can ask the folks over on Hobby Time Modelers on the Friday streams. Sometimes things go wrong and my mouth becomes a potty mouth. Just compare. The tabs are about the same size. And these tabs are very important because they're going to go into the ceiling of the next level. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and while I drill holes in the other parts, and I'll be back. Okay, each of these has a hole drilled in it. Now it'll fit the wires. There's one there and one there. Just need to make sure I have them on the right side. Let's see, those go like that. I believe those go like that. So the next thing is the notches forward on these, and the longer tab on the bottom on parts A, these are going to go in here like that to complete the sides of the walls. It felt like something was shifting, but no. And that has to be on the front, because that is going to be, that groove there is going to be where the smaller parts actually attach. There's probably way too much glue there. That's okay. Better too much than not enough, because this is all going to be hidden anyway. So that's on there. Let me go ahead and grab the bottom piece and put glue on the bottom tabs here. Here I don't want to put too much on, because what I'm going to do once I'm done with it is I'm going to insert it back into the floor, or into the floor, sorry. It's kind of funny to say back when it's never been there in the first place. Just making sure, okay, the tab, the slot instead of for the tab goes there on the or towards the inside. So that's going to be like that. Actually, it goes this way. Put some glue in these two slots here, and you can see this is already gumming up really bad. I don't think this matters which direction you put it in there, because it's going to be the same either way. So you've got the bracing there for the middle of that wall. And I think part of what it does is just gives the outer panel somewhere to grab. This one, on the other hand, see, this is part M, and I need to ream that hole out a little bit because it's kind of disappearing on me. Well, there you go. It's a good thing that did not set yet, because part M actually goes over here. Slightly sticks out on the right side. This edge does not stick out. Push. Okay. Good thing I looked. Part M, this part here, that little tab sticks out on the right side. Let me go ahead and pull this sponge off of here. And put the glue in there. So I would, if you build this, I recommend using wood glue, white glue, something other than super glue. Hang on. Well, there's your problem. I did this one completely backwards. Part D belongs on here. Wow, I really did this backwards. Let me pause. I got to take things apart, and I'll be back when I get it fixed. Okay, here's where I made my mistake. Let me put this part on here first. So this short tab here should be to the right hand side. I had it to the left, so I was literally building my wall exactly backwards. But that's no harm, no foul. I was able to get everything apart. So let me re-glue everything. Too much glue on there. What was happening was I was getting the wider part, the wider section of the wall was on the wrong side. That's why things were not lining up when I started to put the part M on. Okay. So that's back where it's supposed to be. So these two tabs are now on this side. The narrower side of the wall, that you can see this is longer than this is on this side instead of the side I had it on. Get that off of there. So I'm going to just plug on through here and get me back to where I should be. So the tabs are there, or the slots are there. Got glue on my fingers. So this will go on here like this. I mean, it was a mistake, not insurmountable, because the glue was not set. If the glue had been set, that would have really sucked out loud. A little bit of glue here and here, both sides. Okay, so get this all the way down there where it's supposed to be, and see that went together much better. Come on. This little tab sticks out a little bit. So now we get the other part that I haven't even started working with yet. Put glue on the top tab. Again, the bottom tab is slightly longer than the top tab. This is going to slide in here like that. Slot goes to the inside. very key to note there is a very slight slant right there. So you need to make sure that slant matches up, because that is going to be, I believe, the outer wall. Probably not insurmountable if you get it backwards, but it's better to do it right than, like I just did, do it over. So the slant matches that one. And it probably says this in the instructions, but anybody who watches my videos very often realize or will know that I don't read the instructions that much. I look at the pictures a lot. Okay, so those are good. And another helpful hint on that: the letter should be up. It probably says that in the instructions. So this is going to go on here like that. There's the wall built most of the way, and then there's this piece right here. You can see that it's got a slant to it. You're going to match it up with the slant here. Right there I've got it backwards, so it's going to go. Make sure I've got it right, because this one is going to be long enough that if I glue it, it's not coming back off. So that lines up. So let me apply. So I'm going to apply glue all along here. I think I thinned the glue last time I was working with it, but I think this will be fine. And slide this on here. Knock that one piece off. That's awesome. Let's put that back on. And that's the one thing about this glue, is it's thick enough, and the laser burns from the where they cut out the pieces don't absorb glue very fast. So just to hold that in place. Yeah, it's coming off there. And I could get away with just 2 clamps, but I'm gonna clamp it both top and bottom in one direction, then I'm gonna clamp it again the other direction. One clamp is to keep it located correctly against the piece that I'm gluing it to. These clamps are to keep it located front and back. These clamps are to keep it pressed up against it. So let me go ahead and set that down and get the stove. Sitting here looking for the stove drawer, I'm like, where the heck is it? So let me see, what's it say? It says make sure the latch is this way. This latch needs to be up here. And I believe, yes, they do. The oven doors do actually open and fall out. Actually, you're not going to be opening it once it's in the model. Is this going to be a case of I shouldn't have opened it either? Those latches are so delicate. So tiny, so delicate. Yeah, these doors are actually very easy to shift. So I would suggest you do not mess with them too much. Turn the front of the stove, use toothpick, quick dry glue to the back bottom hook before the glue dries. Push the hook down as shown, making sure it is in the correct position. So let me see. Oh, interesting. That's what they're saying. These need some glue on them, just to hold them in the right place. And hooks, make sure checking each hook is correctly positioned. They're all good. It's saying how the hinges operate. The lid glue up here says quick dry, which I usually use super glue, but this should be good because this is going to get glued on, I believe, onto the stove. So the handle goes on like that. And apply quick dry glue to the tab. Apply glue here. So this is where I'm going to get out the super glue. So many glues and I can't find it. By the way, helpful hint, leave the top off of your, let me put this in where you can actually see it, leave the top off your super glue for a couple of minutes after you use it so that it'll all run down inside and you'll be able to use that tip a much longer. So it says to put a little bit of glue on the verticals here. And on this tab. Might have to go back and super glue that if it doesn't behave. Okay, I was looking, there's little slots in here as well. Just a minute, Oliver. I've got our puppy in here with us today. Oliver, stop it. Almost. There we go. That nice solid pop that you heard was it actually fitting in. And so there's the stove done. And that, my friends, is all that there is to do in this stage. This is going to dry once I feel this, actually this should be dry enough. Go ahead and pop this off of here. And to make sure that it lines up correctly, what I'll do, the stove, is I'll pop it in here. This way I know that it is square to where it's going to end up in the house. Just like that. And I see, let me see. This could be an issue. My hole for the wire right there goes into an open hole there, which means there's probably a tab coming in from the bottom. If that's the case, I'll have to work something out to make it fit. And that's it for today that's it for this session on the Moomin house. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you If you want to, hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe. If you want to get this, go over to DeAgostini.com. They have it for sale. Come on over to Hobby Time Modelers. Visit us on Facebook and on YouTube. Friday nights and Sunday afternoons we do a live stream. And I will catch you on the next stream. Have a good one.